What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time here on a Saturday, just afternoon on the East Coast. Still a little snoozy for those people out on the West Coast, 9 a.m. currently. But this is Crunch Time. We're here with TJ. We're here with Justin. It's a fun slate. We were talking pre-show. Normally, Justin, it's Draftkings that gets the slate right today. The slate right. I think today they got it wrong, and FanDuel got it right today. We always play the who got the slate right, and today goes to FanDuel. Would have much preferred, I think, a 4 o'clock 7-game start, or 4 o'clock start 7-game slate that FanDuel has. But having a couple of earlier games, I don't know. You get to play Atlanta against Eric Fetty today, Justin.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I was kind of expecting the 4 o'clock main slate too, especially with 7 games starting around the same time. That's generally how 7 games starting exactly at the same time. That's how DraftKings has usually handled it. So was surprised they threw the curveball today with the 4 earlier games. And, now a lot of the 4 o'clock games, the lineups aren't out yet. So a little bit tough to break down some of those spots until we see who's in and who's out. But it was a bit of a surprise to me because the early 4 games don't necessarily have a lot of must-haves. There's some decent pitchers in a few of them, I guess. But it was a little bit of a surprise to me. But nonetheless, we'll play with what we got. So we've got 11 games on DraftKings today, pretty big slate, and should spread out the ownership a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, it'll still be a really fun day, I think, in DFS. There's if you don't play the Reds, there's a couple of it's wide open today on what you get on offense today. TJ, what's going on up there in Canada today?
I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I had a tough time getting up this morning, so hopefully the show and the chat and talking about some baseball will revitalize us. Every 50 likes, not only will we get a Spidey bomb, but I'll wake up a little bit more. So looking forward to chatting with you guys, my friends, and diving into it a little bit, and hopefully we get a blast of energy as we go.
Yeah, I've got the lineups pulled up too. So normally when we do the shows on the weekends, we have basically the majority of the lineups. That is not the case today. So as important lineups come out, if I notice anything different with them, I will let you guys know based on what I'm seeing. I don't see Tommy Pham didn't make it into the Pirates lineup. That just came out. So if you were looking for a $2,500 bat, he is not in there today. So I think we're going to get a couple of those. The Reds too, they brought up Jake Fraley. He activated from the IL. So that might throw a curveball into some of the Reds lineups out there today. Expecting him to probably get in there, and we'll see what that looks like when it comes out. But I'll keep an update for that as they come out for everybody. But let's start with pitching, Justin. You got Garrett Crochet and everybody else. You can fit it. There's enough cheap bats, although Pham on DraftKings, if he was 2,500, takes away one of them. There's enough cheap bats today. And if you're playing the FanDuel slate later, I know in your article today you said he was hands down the pick over there. It does limit some of the bats you get to if you do play him on FanDuel today. Where do you stand on him? How much are you looking to play? Easily attainable on DraftKings today. I think I was looking at the RG projections prior to the show, and I don't even think they had Crochet in the optimal. I would probably disagree with that. At least for cash games, I would expect Crochet to, in theory, be in the optimal lineup today. What's your take on him?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's the ceiling is so much ahead of everybody else because you look at your other options are just, especially if you're on FanDuel, because on FanDuel you don't have George Kirby, you don't have Max Fried, you don't have Casey Mize, you basically just have Crochet, and then the next price guy is Brandon Woodruff. I think Brandon Woodruff's fine, but he just came back from the injured list last week and threw 70 pitches, so maybe he throws 80 pitches, 85 tops. There's just a cap ceiling with Woodruff. He's not the same kind of strikeout guy that Crochet is. And then you're going to have like these chalk guys like Brady Singer and Tanner Bybee because they're facing the Rockies and the White Sox. But like those are 20% strikeout guys. I mean, this below average strikeout guys. So Crochet is just so far ahead of the pack that I just think you click the button, you lock him in there, and Tampa splits against lefties aren't elite by any means. I think they're like 21st in ISO against lefties. So it's just a don't overthink it. Crochet's your SP1. Now, obviously on DraftKings, you need 2 guys. And I don't, for that, the reason of trying to get some bats in there, I don't think the double, like, spend all the way up is probably the way to go on DraftKings. Because the other high-priced guys have tough matchups, right? If you look at the guys right below Crochet on DraftKings, Fried is facing the Cubs, Mize is facing Seattle, Kirby's facing Detroit, Boyd's facing the Yankees. All those guys are also, pretty expensive, and they don't have the same strikeout upside that Crochet has. So to me, it's Crochet, and then you're going somewhere in the middle range or cheaper with your SP2. Brady Singer is probably just the path of least resistance in cash games. I'll be underweight on him in GPPs. I mean, I don't mind getting different with somebody like Trevor Rogers, Shane Baz against the Red Sox. He's been really good his last few starts. Like, you can mix and match some of these guys in GPPs. But Crochet is the clear number 1 for me today.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Singer, Woodruff, Bybee, and then you mentioned Trevor Rogers. I think he looks good. Even Junk 6,400. I mean, these guys have been good. I think I saw, who was it? Charlie was probably on the under in that one on scores and odds for the first half of that game. He was at 5.5. I think that's a good bet if you're looking for something to bet in that Miami-Baltimore game. So TJ, where do you stand on Crochet? We've got his current ownership. I can always refresh this at 36% on DraftKings. I might take the over on that. He clearly has the highest upside, I think, of any of the pitchers today. But also, like Justin said, there's some pitchers in really good spots. There's a couple lower owned guys that have a lot of potential too here. Over or under, Garrett, Crochet, 36% owned. I assume you're eventually, I don't know if you have him yet, but what would that be looking like for you today?
Yeah, I haven't built any lineups yet, and for full disclosure, I think what I'm going to do is completely X out the first 2 games and build after we're done. I'm playing 150 lineups, but I'm just going to go into lock with 0 of them built, and I plan to just X out Chicago, New York, Seattle, Detroit from a DFS perspective. Even though I do actually really like one of the batters in the first set of games, and he is the first Spidey bomb at plus 560. It's Randy Rosarena. So I do like some Randy Rosarena today, but I'm gonna bet on him to hit a home run. Not gonna have any in my lineups because I'm gonna be fading those first 2 games. But I'll probably be about 50% Crochet if I had to guess. Like, my pool is fairly small, but there's gonna be a group of like Landon Roop, Jansen Junk, Sean Burke that I play like 5 to 10% of. Like, not a lot, but just 5 to 10% of. Trevor Rogers, Brady Singer are my top SP2s by a fairly wide margin. I'm going to fade Brandon Woodruff at high ownership and a low pinch count today. And then Tanner Bybee is another guy that I don't mind. And so I'll be keeping a pretty small pool of pitchers today, but I'm very likely to get like at least 50% Crochet.
Yeah, I think that seems about right because as you go down in the ownership, I'm scrolling down here on SimLabs. These guys, definitely not Eric Fetty, right, Justin? We're not playing him today.
No.
I X him out of the pool. Montas, Sheehan, I'd probably play Junk over even like a Casey Mize. I think if our ownership, in theory, in whatever tournament you're playing is right, Junk and probably I like Baz with upside, but I do like this Boston lineup. It's just addition by subtraction. It's really coming together without Devers there. Baz has upside. He's been pretty good. Maybe throw a dart at him. And then maybe a guy like, I would play a Trevor Rogers or a George Kirby over a Max Fried today, I think, too. Fried's just someone I don't have a lot of interest in on this slate. I'd probably bump a couple of these other guys up in tournaments.
100%. I'm with you there on Fried. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you threw it to me or Justin. That's my bad if it was to Justin. But I'm going to be fading Fried today completely.
Yeah, what do you think of Fried, Justin?
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, you got to power offense in the Cubs, good park to hit. Like run prevention, he'd probably be fine, but it's not like he's the biggest strikeout guy. I think if I was taking a pivot on the high end, right, if you're looking at those pitchers in that closest range to Crochet, it's probably Kirby. I don't have a lot of any of these other guys at the top since I've just basically flag planted on Crochet. But if I had to make a case for one, probably Kirby. I mean, Detroit's lineup is solid, but they, we saw last night, they can disappear at times. And Kirby's his advanced metrics are basically as good as they were in the past now. His surface ERA is still a little unspectacular, but his xFIP, his Sierra are about a run better than that. And his strikeout rate is up to 25%. So, if I had to go with another pitcher in these early two games, I would probably take Kirby as the GPP pitcher.
All right, I have still don't really have any extra lineup news. As soon as they come in, we will start talking about some of those lineups. We need to know the Reds lineup for sure. A couple other good offenses we're waiting on here today. TJ, any final thoughts? Pitchers, anyone you would dart throw in maybe if I go in ownership and below, I like Junk for sure as, probably the higher upside, lowest owned cheap guy, but below him, not really finding anything. Anyone down here you want to use?
Junk, Burke, Roop are the three guys down here I'm going to be taking shots on. I don't include Trevor Rogers in that just because I actually think he's good and I'll have more of him. But Roop, Junk, and Burke, it'll just be 5-10%, a little bit of dart throw sprinkles and 150 lineups. I will mention that I'll be heavily overweight on Brady Singer. I'm probably going to have about 50% Singer today.
Yeah, Justin, gun to your head. Who's the SP2 on DraftKings? Singer, Woodruff, or Bybee?
In cash games?
Yeah.
In cash games, I think it's Singer. I am most overweight on Rogers in GPPs.
All right. I think I like where you're coming from on that one, too. I think Singer. Insert pitcher against the Rockies. You're generally going to have a reasonably safe outcome on that one, too. So I like that one. Rogers has been good in limited outings. I like him quite a bit for the upside today. All right. Let's go to offense in general. Justin, I'll stay with you today. So we have a huge ownership on the Reds today. Our optimal, they're so high because the team total, I'm sure that plays into projections a lot behind the scenes here, is so high. And what is it? It's 6.5 or getting close to 7 if it's not 7 already.
6.7 right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that from a team.
Yeah, that's a big team total.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at who they're going against. Look at the bullpen of the Rockies. What do we think? Is that a real...
And it's 90 degrees in Great Canadian Small Park.
Yeah. Is that the real total today?
Canadian. I said Canadian. American, of course.
I thought that was some sort of joke I didn't get.
No. There's a place that I was just this is off topic, but we have the time. There's a place that my wife and I were both complaining to each other that got closed in Saskatoon here that I live. It was called the Great Canadian Bagel. And it was so good. They were it was so delicious. And so I still have, and I'm hungry right now. I didn't eat breakfast yet. And so I still have Great Canadian Bagel in my mind when I was talking about the Great American Ballpark.
A good bagel, especially if you get the right cream cheese and the right toppings on it for a sandwich, is absolutely delicious. I would agree.
Oh, I'm just craving it so badly right now.
If you find a good bagel spot, that's definitely a miss if it closes or something like that. But Justin, is that team total real? It seems real based on Vegas and
well, I mean,
everything
that's what
else.
Vegas has. Yeah, it's real based on that. Whether it's crazy because I don't think I've ever seen the Reds they're 15th in team weighted on base for the year. So they're about as average offensively as you can get, just league average. I don't think I've ever seen a league average team outside of Coors Field and those weird games they had in Mexico City the last couple of years, outside of those huge elevation parks. I don't think I've ever seen a team that's 15th in the league in weighted on base have a run total approaching 7 at one of those non-Coors Field type of parks. So it seems really, really high. But then you look at the Rockies, they're bringing up a guy to pitch that hasn't started in the majors in 2 months, and the last time he did, he gave up 12 runs. I mean, it's just hard to argue with it, and the bullpen is so bad. Like, even the other night when you think things are going well, I bet the Rockies plus 2.5 against Boston one night for some unknown reason. And it was scoreless in the bottom of the sixth. I'm like, all right, plus 2.5 games scoreless in the bottom of the sixth, and Boston ended up winning 10-0. It's just how bad the Rockies bullpen is. And then you got a starter that's terrible and a park that's good for offense in the summer, and it's hot. So ownership is going to be the ultimate driver for me. Right now I've got quite a few red stacks. I just think the upside is so great that you got to have some. Like, if you're building 50, 60 lineups, you'd be foolish not to have some. Well, whether if you're doing a single entry GPP build, whether you stack them or not is ultimately your call on what you think for ownership and other options. In cash games, I think you're probably playing 3 Reds bats, maybe 2 for sure. Depending on what that lineup looks like, it's just, you got to get some exposure there.
Yeah. What's your take on this total, TJ, and basically the ownership as well? Because we have there's 22 teams, and 12 approaching 13 for 22 teams is pretty high. But SimLabs is just throwing out, hey, like every lineup Reds basically, out here today. Would you take the over their team ownership or whatever's projected here? I think we all understand what we're saying here with SimLabs. Would you take over or under that ownership? Do you think that's right? I might probably lean a little over because they are, they're easily stackable. Again, depending on what the lineup looks like today. Outside of De La Cruz, they're all reasonably affordable. You can get a full stack with Crochet in there. It just seems like that's where people are going to be going. Would you want to be over or underweight or basically right at the field today?
I will see. I'll probably be at least even, maybe a little bit overweight. I just, on the over-under on the ownership, I would say in single entry.
Much higher.
Much higher than that. In large field, probably around there. I'm more likely, I think, to be doing heavy mini stacks with like Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz, maybe some Friedel, or we'll see how the lineup shakes out if Steers somewhere near the top instead of near the back half. But like, for me, it's really just going to be like a lot of Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, and then I'll probably be around even on the full stacks. Outside of that, though, there are just enough good spots on the slate that I'm totally fine going elsewhere. But one of the benefits of taking a few days off the last 3 days, I didn't play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I didn't get burned by the Reds last night, so I have no qualms in going back there and playing them.
Well, I saw someone in chat saying they were gutless against Marquez, but Marquez is, he used to be a really good pitcher. He struggled a little bit. He has the ability to be a good pitcher, so that was that was in the cards for that to happen. Not in the cards today, I think, for the Reds to get kind of shut down today. So I if this holds through in like MME, I think I would probably be a little overweight on the Reds today. Justin, where I'm struggling, the Orioles coming in as the second. I don't know about that. At least to me, I would rather play junk than an Orioles stack today. Who you got between that, and then where else do you see some offense coming from today?
Yeah, I didn't write up the Orioles at all today. You look at Junk's numbers, pretty solid across the board. The Baltimore offense has kind of been overrated, I think, for much of the year, and we saw them disappoint for basically the entire first half of the season. They've been a little bit better lately, but still not exactly a must-have group, and I'm kind of on the pitchers on both sides in that game as well. So I am out on Baltimore. I'm fine with the Mets. I'm out on the Guardians. That offense stinks. I don't care who they're facing. I am not stacking the Guardians. There's just no ceiling there. The team that really befuddles me is why nobody is talking about the Braves. And maybe it's just because I'm a Cardinal fan and I've watched Eric Fetty pitch, but they're talking about removing him from the rotation. His ERA in his last 3 starts is 13.5. He's been terrible. Like the last month, Eric Fetty has just been awful. He's been as bad as the Colorado pitching staff. And I know Atlanta has been in that same boat. They've disappointed us all year long, but they've been better since they got Acuna back. Sean Murphy hit 2 home runs last night. It's just nobody's playing Atlanta. And I think just straight up, I might like Atlanta just as much as I like the Reds on DK. So you can't play Atlanta on FanDuel because they're one of the early 4 games. But on DK, Atlanta's definitely the team I'm the most overweight on. On FanDuel, I think Boston is interesting as a stack. I think Milwaukee is interesting as a stack. So those are the other 2 I'd throw into that mix on FanDuel.
Yeah, the Braves I wrote up on scores and odds the first half, 2.5 at plus money. Seems like they're just handing out some free money, Justin. I'm with you on that one. And those, I think all 3 of those were like these hot weather games for Fetty too. I don't know if you can recall off the top of your head, but it's hot, it's humid. The wind's blowing out in St. Louis today too, so it's all very similar to that. And 2 of those were against the Cubs, don't forget. So I don't know if you can really hold that against them, but the one against the Pirates, Justin.
But even the last one against the Cubs was the one game in that series where the wind was blowing in. The over-under in that game was like 7.5. So it's not like the Wrigley stuff messed with them. The other game that was against the Cubs, I was at in St. Louis, and it was 8-0, and I wasted $50 on parking and a couple $100 on tickets going down there. So yeah, I'm not happy with Fetty right now. Frankly, I hope he stinks again today so that he gets booted from the rotation. There's just no sense in having him in there anymore. Let a young guy come up and get a shot. So I'm, as much as I hope the Cardinals win, if they do today, I hope it's like 10-9 and we can be done with Fetty nonsense.
What do you like in offense, TJ? I think I would play. I like the Mets. I of course like the Braves. I think the Royals are interesting today against Montas. Montas is just, he looks like complete toast. It's good weather in Kansas City. Always tough to hit home runs there, but today looks like a good day to probably do that. You can convince myself to play the Cardinals. There's not a ton of, right? Just not a lot of pop, but they got 7, 8, 9 runs today. That wouldn't surprise me either, as much as we both like the Braves.
Yeah, the Braves are going with like a bullpen game, and they had to use their bullpen for 6 innings last night. Both starters last night were terrible. So I don't mind that call, and agree on the Royals too. I think they're sneakier stack.
What do you like, TJ?
I'm going to kind of flip that a little bit into who do I not like, just because that's a little bit easier. I don't like Tampa Bay today. I don't really like Pittsburgh, Miami, Colorado. I like everybody else. It's pretty much what it comes down to. Like, I don't really like the White Sox or even Cleveland that much either. Cleveland, I think, is fine, though. I think basically everyone is playable on this slate. So if you do want to get underweight on Cincinnati, I have no problems with that whatsoever. Kansas City, the Mets, the Brewers, even the Nationals against Woodruff, I don't mind. Boston, the Dodgers. I don't like the Giants. I forgot to mention the Giants, but I do not like the Giants. Seattle's playable. Detroit's. I don't like Detroit against Gilbert.
It's Kirby.
I think Seattle's playable against Mize. Kirby. Right. Sorry. Thank you, Kirby. I always mix those 2 up. I feel like they came into the league at the same time, and Gilbert's developed into a higher strikeout guy, but I feel like they've almost.
It's like Gilbert and Kirby and Wu. Like suddenly Seattle just had these 3 guys all come up, around,
and they're all the same. Yeah,
they're all good.
So yeah, I don't mind Seattle. I'm not playing them just because I'm fading the early games, so I don't mind Seattle. Detroit, I don't like, though, against Kirby very much, outside of maybe some one-offs with like Riley Green. Chicago, I don't think there's any need to play against Fried. The Yankees against Mize are fine. I'm not getting there a lot, but we know they obviously do have some really big upside. My thing with the Yankees is like I don't really like playing them against lefties. I think Aaron Judge always looks great against the lefty. Sure, you can play some Goldschmidt because he's super cheap, but I like the Yankees against righties more than I like the Yankees against lefties. And so I'm not that scared of my fate of them today.
I don't have any lineup news, but I do have an update from Roth on the Detroit game. He says it's interesting to see if they late start Detroit. There's a line of storms coming in. If they don't late start Detroit, he says there's a very high chance of an in-game delay. So keep that in mind if you're using Mize or Kirby. Is that what Kirby? Kirby for that one, and keep an eye out for a late start on that one. I think we would want a late start if you're going to be using the pitchers. The in-game delay, it does look like the Storms are moving reasonably quick, so I think there's a pretty decent chance the starting pitchers would come back out. But I did want to note that for people on an update for Roth in that Detroit game, so keep that in mind. All right, let's go position by position. We'll start at catcher. Again, we're still waiting on a lot of lineups. We got to see what we're doing here. We've got Contreras, Stevenson, Jeffers up towards the top of the ownership here. I think I agree with that one. Baldwin's someone I want Baldwin over Contreras. I like Milwaukee. I don't think we talked about them enough, but anybody against Ogasawara, I'm completely okay with them. Milwaukee, anybody, even though Contreras, he has like a .001 something ISO. It's like absolutely ridiculous against lefties this year. He's not really having that great of a season. What would you rather do here, Justin? Contreras, save a couple of bucks with a Stevenson or Jeffers, depending on where Stevenson is in the lineup. Jeffers is hitting cleanup. Baldwin's up there today at 4,300. What's your preference? I think a lot of ways you can go.
I don't think Baldwin's playing.
He's oh yeah,
it's Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy.
So they both played last night. Murphy hit 2 bombs. So yeah, Murphy's fine. And he's $100. The same logic applies. It's just Murphy instead of Baldwin.
Yep.
So, and we're both on the Braves. So I like Murphy. And with Jeffers hitting cleanup, I don't mind him. Burrows has been pretty good for Pittsburgh, but it's a limited sample. The odds makers aren't buying it. Minnesota's total is over 5 runs. So, Jeffers, I think, will end up garnering a bit more ownership. Again, we got to see what the Cincinnati lineup looks like. So in the event that, maybe Stevenson isn't in there with the day game, who knows? That would probably pivot a lot more ownership to Jeffers. I'll be overweight on Murphy. Probably a little bit of exposure to Narvaez as well for Boston. Again, I've got a few Boston stacks. I know Baz has been good lately, but when he's been bad, he's been really bad. So, I'm okay going underweight Contreras if he's the chalkiest, just because of that limited power against lefties. So Murphy, Jeffers, Narvaez, probably not getting up to the Cal Raleigh types today.
Yeah, I think I'm going to end up rolling probably Murphy or Jeffers in cash today are probably my two favorites. Stevenson will probably be down, 6th or 7th in the order. And I don't know, his projection's still going to look pretty good from down there. But I think I'm just on the Murphy or Jeffers, me personally, today. TJ, normally catcher, not the greatest position, but I mean, there's some guys with good upside today. I think it's going to be pretty spread out, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sean Murphy, definitely my favorite guy here. Still sub 4K, batting cleanup, and absolutely smashing the ball recently. He's number 1 for me. Jeffers will be number 2. Don't mind Narvaez, Ramirez, Stevenson, Contreras, but I will probably be underweight on Contreras because of that projected ownership. There are a couple punts that I really like. Bo Naylor, I think, is a very strong punt today. Kyle Teal going up against Bybee. Bybee struggles against lefties. Kyle Teal's sub 3K and batting 5th, or projected to bat 5th. And so as long as he's in the middle or top half of the lineup, I like him. And then it's terrifying. The player that I'm most afraid of not getting to today, just because I am planning on fading those early games, it's Cal Raleigh. I don't think it's that hard to spend up for him, especially if you're fading Crochet. And so I love like a Raleigh, a Rosarena mini stack. Raleigh is a one-off today, and so I'm pretty terrified about not having any of him.
I did note that Kevin Roth tweet. He said there's a chance of a delay. If they don't late start, it has been delayed the start of the game, which is what you wanted to see. Honestly, looking at the radar on that one, so that one's going to late start. Just taking another game off the early lock. If you want to wait till the lineups are up, I like TJ's. No one's really trying to jam in an Aaron Judge or Cubs today, right? So you can take this first hour off and wait till you get all the lineups and really tinker around, I think, after the show today, guys. So make sure you keep your eye up on that. I think that's a very good strategy today. Let's go to first base. Couple ways you can go here. You've got Spencer Steer is 3,800 on DraftKings. You've got Andrew Vaughn again. Any Milwaukee bat, assuming Vaughn makes the lineup and is top 5 or 6 at 2,200. Justin looks pretty good. Manzardo, in theory, he had a hot start to the season. It's just been horrible since then. Part of the reason why Cleveland doesn't really. It's the Cleveland Jose Ramirez is basically, and the Steven Kwans. That's the whole offense in Cleveland right now. Probably not spending on probably an Olsen today as much as we do like the Braves against Fetty. One of these cheaper guys, Steer, of course, any Reds player. Vaughn specifically, if he makes the lineup, looks like a really good salary saver. And I would probably play Alonso against Lorenzen, even over Olsen today. Just Alonso has really turned himself into a, not just the power hitter with a 230 average anymore. He contributes multiple ways now.
Yeah, it's a tough call for me on how to handle this position optimally in cash games. I think you can probably fill it in late if you want to and see how much salary you have available. I presume that Steer is going to be the most popular just because of the salary and, again, the matchup. And once again, if you're just joining us, we still need to confirm that Cincinnati lineup isn't out yet. But in GPPs, I do like Olsen. His ownership has come up a little bit since the start of the day, but the Olsen Alonso tier, I think that kind of middle range, going to be pretty solid, I think, for GPPs today, because I think you get most people trying to go cheap with Steer or Vaughn or a Manzardo. I think we'll also get a little bit of a bump. So I like those cheap guys, but I do like the 5K pivots. Both Alonso and Olsen, I think, are really interesting upside, multi-home run upside tournament plays that if most people end up going cheap here, you can find a cheaper pivot in the outfield or a cheaper SB2 on DraftKings that, and even Pasquantino, I think, against Montas is a really strong tournament play. Like him a little better on FanDuel where we don't have some of these other options available, but Pasquantino is another guy that I don't mind as a one-off play today.
Here's 2,900 on FanDuel. I think I have him slotted into my team on FanDuel currently. What are you doing, TJ? First, we need 20 more likes to get Spidey Bomb number 2. I know I want Spidey Bomb number 2. You should too. Get some more likes in there. We would appreciate it. TJ, first base. What do you like here?
Matt Olson's going to be my favorite guy to get to here. I really like Pete Alonso against the reverse splits. Michael Lorenzen, at least when it comes to power. He's going to be really low owned, like him today. I'm probably going to find myself with quite a bit of Shohei Ohtani, which I really like considering how low owned he's projecting for, just because I'm not going to have Rowley or Judge in my pool fading those early games. And so I think that's going to lead me to anytime I have a lot of money relating in a lineup, getting to Shohei Ohtani. So I'm going to be really overweight there. I like the Vinny P call. Freddie Freeman, I think, is fine. Kyle Manzardo, I think, is fine if you need to save some salary. And then, of course, Andrew Vaughn is a super duper cheapie. I'm fine with that punt.
Yeah, again, I'm just waiting for lineups on that one. But again, after the show, even if we don't have the lineups at the end of this show, you got till 2:00 as long as you don't play.
I can't believe we haven't gotten a single one. Not a single lineup's dropped in the last 40 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the weekend. They're all-star breaks coming up. Everyone's taking the week off. Let's go to second base. Pretty easy spot on DraftKings to fill. You've got Matt McLean. What is he? 3,900. He fits in there rather easily. You're probably not going to be. Is he dual position eligibility? I hate these new player cards on DraftKings. Right? I want the old one back. Do you guys like them, or do you want the old one?
Oh, they're trash.
Yeah, I have gotten used to them, but I don't like them. He is only second base on DraftKings, though.
Yeah, but they have him listed at shortstop on the player card. Makes it very difficult. Yeah, go back to the old player cards, DraftKings. They didn't have the right information. They didn't have all the information you wanted, but they had the information you needed to put guys into your lineups, is what I'm kind of saying. But 3,900 to get somebody likely up towards the top of the order against Colorado. Hard to go wrong there. SimLabs is saying Jordan Westburg as the high. There's no chance people are clicking Jordan Westburg over Matt McLean today, right?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I would have McLean probably close to double this ownership and Westburg down a little bit today. I like McNeil a little bit too, 3,400 to get any part of those Mets lefties today or righties. Basically any Mets bat today against Lorenzen looks pretty good today. But I expect McLean to probably be the chalk playing cash. On FanDuel, it's a little tougher because you can only play 4 Reds. So, like, which Reds isn't going to make it? McLean is shortstop / second base. Probably maybe better used at shortstop, but you've got De La Cruz. Maybe you throw him into second base.
McLean and Ellie are the guys to prioritize for me.
Yeah, so it just
Even
gets
on FanDuel.
it gets a little tough, but McLean's probably someone you're going to want. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think McLean or Ellie 1, and then McLean, and then Steer would probably be my ordering. Again, depending on how that lineup looks. But yeah, you pretty much hit the second base guys that I like today. If you're looking to go super cheap on DraftKings, like Nick Gonzalez is hitting cleanup for the Pirates against a bullpen game for the Twins, but the $3,100 for Nick Gonzalez, he's not that much discounted from McLean, so I'd probably just stick with McLean. Don't mind Brendan Donovan leading off for the Cardinals, but that would be mainly in the stacks play because he is a bit pricey over on DraftKings at 4,400. But I think you're sticking with McLean or Jeff McNeil for like cash game type plays.
Yeah. What about tournaments, TJ? Not the greatest upside position, I think, today. No one's really standing out in terms of like a one-off that you think could probably hit a home run. A lot of guessing there. What are you doing?
Yeah, McLean's going to be my top guy. I don't mind some Jackson Holiday as well. My next favorites are probably the Minnesota guys, Willie Castro and Brooks Lee. Outside of that, there's not a ton of guys that I like here at the position. I will probably play some Luis Garcia against Brandon Woodruff today. I plan to stack a little bit against Woodruff at his really high ownership, so I don't mind some Luis Garcia. Bryce Terang and a lefty I think is fine, as depending he is. He's kind of always in the lineup. So Nick Gonzalez, 3,100 for Pittsburgh, I think is a very viable play at low ownership if you need a punt. Schneemann is sure okay, but McLean definitely my favorite, with probably a Holiday than Brooks Lee right behind him.
Third base, Justin, just looks. It's Jose Ramirez and everybody else because there's not really maybe Michael Garcia, but it seems like Jose Ramirez is the clear play today, and I know the ownership showing that as well. Just nobody else you really want to use today. A spot I'm going to be spending, I think, on both sites in cash.
Yeah, this position is rough today. Sometimes it gets pretty weak, but I don't know if I've seen a whole lot of days where it's this bad. You get a little bit more flexibility with some multi-position eligible guys. Schneemann. I'm fine with Schneemann at 3K on DraftKings. I don't love Cleveland that much, though. Royce Lewis, if you think he could run into one at 2,600. Ryan McMahon, if you're like not on Singer and you're looking for that leverage in GPPs, but I don't know. It's just ugly. So yeah, path of least resistance is Ramirez. You've got the saving options at other positions. I don't love Cleveland as a whole again, but Ramirez or Schneemann here I think are fine. Those are really the two Guardians I'm considering today. Noelvi Marte if you're stacking the Reds, but if he's hitting ninth, I don't have that much interest in prioritizing him. So it is a rough third base today.
Yeah, still none of these 4 o'clock games that we've been waiting for since the start of the show have come out. Again, if they pop up the lineups, I will get to them, but still we are in the dark here. TJ, did we reach 100 likes? Do we have Spidey Bomb number 2 yet?
Let's see. We have not.
94.
6 away.
6 away. He's being stingy, guys. Click that like button. What are we doing at third?
Jose Ramirez, obviously the top play if you can get there, but I really like the Royce Lewis call. He has a 94 ISO against righties this year, but a 53% hard hit rate. And so it positive regression should be coming to him. Brooks Lee you can play here as well. Marte, as long as he is in the lineup, is probably my second favorite play behind Ramirez. Same with Vientos, as long as he's in the lineup. Mauricio, as long as he's in the lineup. Both of them are totally strong plays as well. Speaking of the Mets today, it is time to drop Spidey Bomb number 2. And so at plus 390, we got Pete Alonso, Spidey Bomb number 2. I like those Mets, especially the righties, going up against Michael Lorenzen today. And so Pete Alonso plus 390, Spidey Bomb number 2.
That seems pretty good for even in Kansas City, 390. That's a good one. I like that one. I'm going to follow you in on that one, TJ. Let's go to shortstop. Ellie De La Cruz, end subject, but this is the move some of these guys to third base, right, in the multi-position eligibility, because we need more players over there, and it's just a log jam at shortstop. We've got Gunnar Henderson, and I understand it because he's 4,500, but I'm on junk more than I am the Orioles today. Ellie, to me, looks like the clear play. I don't know. Ellie, both sites, pretty easy to fit, even with Crochet, Justin.
Yeah, he's, I think, the top spend on the slate. You just look at, I think the Rockies intentionally walked him 3 times last night because he kept coming up with a guy on second base and nobody on first. And then Hayes, I believe, was hitting behind him, struck out every time after they intentionally walked him. So, weird circumstance of events, but he's still getting on base. We know that, he'll steal. He's got power. Might hit 5 times today. He will be the highest owned shortstop. He will be higher owned than Gunnar, I'm sure. Your pivots are the other kind of spend up guys that, Bobby Witt, if you're on the Royals against Montas, I think Bobby Witt is my favorite pivot at basically the same level salary as De La Cruz. So if you're looking for a GPP pivot, it's Witt. Tough to argue like saving here, I suppose, with like a JP Crawford or a Mason Wynn type you could look at, but this feels like a position where you want to try to get one of the spends.
Yeah, I could see there's going to be a big score from shortstop today from one of them. Ellie, a Lindor, a Betts, a Witt. Hard to see all of them kind of, tanking with under like 10 DraftKings points or something like that. I expect one of them to have a pretty good game. TJ, anyone you're looking at out here?
Ellie is going to be my favorite. My sneaky low-owned tournament play is CJ Abrams. I think even if I'm not full stacking Washington against Woodruff, I think playing some Abrams, some Wood is a really way to get some leverage on a really good way to get some leverage on the field today with Woodruff projecting for 30+% ownership. Lindor, I don't mind, but he's projecting for a decent amount of ownership. My favorite, if I'm going to save, is probably Mason Wynn. And then Bobby Witt, of course, is a great play as well. But Ellie is my number one. I'm fine with Gunnar Henderson, but I probably like Lindor, Witt, and Abrams all better than him.
All right. Before we finish up on the outfield, I want to tell you guys about RotoGrinders Combo Pro. The DFS annual option is $425, but we dropped the price of our Combo Pro to mirror the MLB annual package. You can get more stuff for the same price. You can get 6 months of Pro, give you access to everything but NASCAR at a cheaper price than your monthly package. Save about 35% using the 6-month option. You can get MLB, PGA, and a lot more through that if you like things like SimLabs, RotoGrinders Lineup HQ I got over here. You can get access to that using the 6-month option for everything. All right, outfield. We've got Reds, more Reds, a couple cheap guys mixed in there. TJ Friedel, probably going to be leading off today. You've got Austin Hayes, probably going to be, third or fourth in the lineup today. You've got a couple of Mets. You've got Soto and Nimmo, I think, are pretty good. I know TJ likes the righties, but I say everybody can hit against Lorenzen today. These are all the guys I want. Acuna, if you're spending up, looks to be in a really good spot against Fetty. I kind of agree with the guys that are going to be highly owned over here, Justin, in the outfield today.
Yeah, the question becomes where you want to go with your cheap plays because, you're going to have to, right, especially if you're trying to get Ramirez at third or Elliott short, probably going to need somebody on the cheap in the outfield. So it would, again, depend on who ends up being in there for the Reds. Lux is projecting as kind of the cheap guy right now that everybody's going to have. You can play McNeil in the outfield on DraftKings. My favorite is Profar. He's leading off for Atlanta. again against Eric Fetty. He's only 3,500 on DK. So, if you're on Cleveland, if Nolan Jones is up there in the lineup today, he's basically free on DraftKings. So those are the couple guys that I think you look at if you're looking to go to that 3K type of salary range. Maybe a Brian Reynolds would fit in there as well. So there are options. I like the Milwaukee guys against Ogasawara. Milwaukee's projected for 5.7 runs. Churio Yelich has been good against lefties this year. And I like Isaac Collins as a value. I mean, he's been pretty solid against lefties. He's only 3,300 on DraftKings. So, yeah, I like the top end guys. No doubt that are going to get some ownership. The Sotos, Nimmo, Buxton. But those are some of the cheaper guys I like because you're probably going to need one, maybe two cheapish outfielders on DraftKings, and Profar would be my first choice.
Let's Hayes, Lux, and Friedel. They're all kind of different price points on DraftKings today. Factor in price, Justin. Rank those three for me.
Yeah, Friedel, Lux, and Hayes. Hayes is 4,900. That's a little steep for me. I'll take the savings. And then we got, Fraley's in there too. Who knows where he's hitting now that he's back. But, Friedel would be first for me.
Yeah, I think too. And Fraley, they recalled Fraley. If you guys missed the early part of the show, Jake Fraley got recalled by the Reds. That's probably why they're waiting on the lineup, although every team seems to be waiting on their lineup currently right now. So I'm expecting, usually when they call guys up, it's because to put them back into the lineup. I'm expecting him to probably make the lineup, which will change things up from what kind of like the projected lineups are. So make sure you're probably paying attention either towards the end of the show if we get it, or especially after the show, because you're probably going to have to make a couple of changes to your teams post 105. TJ, lots to like here. I'm with cards. I really like the Milwaukee stack. I would probably do Reds, Braves, Milwaukee would probably be like my favorite. I want bats against Ogasawara, and I want bats against Washington. I was on Washington against your Cardinals, Justin, and it was looking okay. Soroka was just throwing the ball all over the place, getting everyone to 2 strikes. And then they got a couple of runs across, and the bullpen comes in, and the Cardinals blow it wide open against them. I mean, their bullpen is just falling apart. I want some of the Braves. Churio, Yelich, I think are great plays. But TJ, where are you standing in terms of outfield ownership?
Yeah, I love the Brewers calls. Obviously, we have the Mets guys and the Reds guys who are projecting really well. Look like they're in a really good spot. A couple other like low-owned guys I really like for tournaments, though. James Wood, who I already talked about, I think he is in a very interesting spot against Woodruff. O'Neal Cruz, 5K projecting for super low ownership. He's been hitting the ball pretty well lately. I like O'Neal Cruz a lot in this spot. The more that I think about it, the more I like Pittsburgh as it's not a full stack, but a mini stack. Alec Burleson, lefty, I'm fine with. Any of the 5 Boston outfielders, I'm totally fine with in this spot. Profar, probably my favorite salary saver. That's the outfield.
You rather do
and Ohtani, of course. You can always play Ohtani. I'm playing Ohtani. You can play Ohtani too.
Rank Ohtani, Acuna, and Judge today, TJ.
So this is difficult because I'm not playing any Judge, but I would probably go Acuna, Judge. No, I'd go. I don't know. Flip a coin.
Well, that's what we're here for. Let's go to Justin. I think today I'd probably put Acuna.
I'm going
Acuna at the top.
I'm going Acuna most with Ohtani right behind him and the least Judge, but I don't think I would argue with you at all to put Judge 1, and I don't think I would argue with you at all to put Cal Raleigh above all of them.
Yeah. Normally, Justin, Judge is right up here in terms of ownership. I mean, I bet if I click optimal minus projection, I haven't done this yet, Aaron Judge is probably going to pop up towards the top here. So let's see here. The O'Neal Cruz, the Ohtani, and Judge is up here too. So it kind of looks like TJ was on a couple of these ones. I know the bat really liked O'Neal Cruz today too. It's hot. I think the wind's blowing out in Minnesota today, so I think that's factoring in a little bit more to the bat than some other projection systems. Yeah, all the expensive guys, Justin, popping on the optimal here today. Just doesn't look like people are getting to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to have the salary to spend everywhere. I mean, we do have Fraley up there, but I think if, depending on where Fraley hits, that ownership might come up. But I like the Cruz call. I mean, the Twins, we don't really know what they're doing for pitching today. They're just kind of cobbling something together, and cobbling something together is usually fine against the Pirates. But Cruz is the one exception that does have a pretty good ceiling there. So I don't have a lot of Cruz right now, but I think he's interesting as a one-off play. Hey, we finally got our first lineup of the show. It's the White Sox.
Yeah, everyone pile into them. We got the White Sox lineup. Where did you see that? Because I hasn't popped up on my
just
feed.
Our MLB alerts or projections channel.
All right, so that's you got that faster than me. I'm not in that one. I'm looking on the Twitter. I haven't gotten it yet, but yeah,
it'll probably come in a minute.
Yeah, in just a minute. All right, yeah. Let me know if anything else comes in, Justin, for that one, and we can dissect it while we're taking some questions. We got about 10 minutes left. We can talk DraftKings, FanDuel. Again, FanDuel starts at 4:00, guys. And if you just tuned in, we're waiting on like 4 or 5 teams lineups today. The Reds lineup's probably going to be a little bit different than you would expect because Jake Fraley got recalled, and he's probably going to make his way into the lineup, throwing a wrench into some of our plans. You're going to want to be available between that 1 and 2 o'clock time by your phone to probably make some switches today. Expecting a couple things to be a little different. All right, let's go to YouTube. A couple of questions here. McLean or Terang from Don Yeezy. I mean, any Reds bat basically is going to take it over any similarly priced player. Would you agree with that today, Justin?
I would.
TJ, you're on McLean too over. That seems like a pretty easy one over Terang.
Yeah.
Scott from YouTube wants to know the best value pitcher today. So we've got Crochet at the top. Justin, maybe you can recap pitching some of the guys. We've got Woodruff, we've got Singer, we've got Tanner Bybee, and then there's a couple other cheaper options you like for upside as well.
Yeah, to me, it depends on the format that you're playing. If you're looking for safe, it's probably Woodruff or Singer. I mean, Singer, everybody gets more upside against the Rockies. He's not a big strikeout pitcher, but he'll be fine. And Woodruff, somewhat of a pitch cap, but facing Washington, and he was pretty efficient in his first start back, which was against the Marlins, I believe. So those two guys and Bybee, those are probably your safe guys. I don't love any of them really in tournaments as an upside play. Woodruff because of the pitch count, Singer because the ownership's probably going to be out of control, Bybee because the White Sox, for all their faults, they don't strike out a ton. Bybee's not a big strikeout guy either. So if you're going for cheaper for GPPs, I think you're looking at somebody like Jansen Junk or Trevor Rogers. Rogers is definitely my favorite. I tagged him today. Not getting a ton of national respect. They're letting him throw 90, 95 pitches now. He's been really good. And while he's probably going to certainly regress from the 1.5 ERA or whatever he has, that Marlins offense is going to regress a bit too. They won a whole bunch of games these last couple of weeks. They're not a power hitting type of group. Their team total is under 4. Rogers is a perfectly fine SP2 today for sure.
A couple other questions. I'm going on to the Discord. This was from earlier. So Chinatown, if you're still watching, DraftKings Cash. What's your pairing? I'm staring at Crochet and Singer. I don't see myself moving off of that. Justin, what would be your pairing?
Yeah, I think that's the play in cash. I don't think Crochet Rogers is a terrible idea in cash, but I prefer Rogers in tournaments.
What do you think, TJ? Would Crochet and Singer probably be the way? Would you use one of the other, like a Wood? You seem to be stacking against Woodruff, so he's probably not on your radar today.
Crochet Singer would be my pairing unless I just had a lineup I liked way better with Crochet and Rogers, then I'd be fine with that too.
All right. Falcor wanted to know for the early slate, should he leave Meisen or switch to Boyd due to the weather? I think Roth is almost given that the all clear once the delay passes. He said there's very minimal risk after that. So if Mize was in there and you like Mize, I don't think the weather is going to play any part now that they've delayed that game. Crazy Coop wants to know, a DraftKings a high dollar single entry. So this is where the ownership gets a lot more condensed, Justin. Would you be comfortable fading Garrett Crochet in that? And I'll add, a lot of people were on Crochet, myself included, in his last start against Washington. That did not go well. Your Miles Michaelis ended up with more fantasy points than Garrett Crochet did. against Washington. So I think that has people a little uneasy on that, but I don't know. I think I would still. I don't think I would play a high dollar game without Garrett Crochet in there.
Yeah, I would not let the 50% or 40% of people that don't play him in that type of format make the mistake. Like, I don't think you're gaining enough if you try to go double cheap. I certainly wouldn't like pivot off of Crochet for a Kirby or a Mize or somebody in that. I think the only logical way to pivot off of Crochet is if you're going like double cheap, or on FanDuel, you're just going with a cheap guy instead of Crochet. It just doesn't feel like the play to me this afternoon.
Mize or Kirby, people wanted to know if you got to take a picture in that game today. Justin, where would you stand on that?
Yeah, that's Kirby for me. The advanced metrics are a lot better. Mize kind of been getting by on a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Kirby's got the low walks, the 25% strikeouts, the good batted ball data. His numbers are going to be better than what his ERA looks like right now. So maybe the matchup's a little bit tougher against Detroit, but Kirby over Mize for me, and I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Someone want to know, any chance Crochet isn't pushed because of the All-Star game? And I think this can be a blanket statement.
Yeah, you can say that about anybody.
Yeah, for anybody. There hasn't been anything specific on Crochet. He's had, 2 not absolutely stellar outings? If it's not absolutely stellar, do they pull him at 5 innings instead of letting him go to 6? I don't know.
I mean, Boston's concern's got to be like right now. If I look at the standings right now, Boston's in the second wild card, Tampa's in the third wild card, and Seattle's a half game back. And this is Boston against Tampa head to head.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not concerned about the All-Star game if you're the manager of the Red Sox right now. If you let Crochet throw 110 pitches today, then you say, well, you're not pitching the All-Star game.
Yeah, I think every pitcher has that same concern in theory today, but in Justin's breakdown of that, I would say no, not concerned about Crochet probably at all in this particular option. Let's see if we get a couple Woodruff and Rogers for a DraftKings tournament today. So I think I'm on board with Trevor Rogers. Justin is. TJ, do you like Trevor Rogers as a GPP play? I think if I recall from earlier in the show here.
Yeah, he'll be my third highest owned pitcher.
All right, so you're not on Woodruff. I don't know if you had a chance to really explain that. You're actively taking some of the Washington bats today. So what's your take on Woodruff overall? Why are you taking Washington on that? Is it Washington or is it on the Woodruff side that you're with that for?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be like, I'm playing, pardon me, some in my throat. I'm not playing a ton of Washington by any means. It's just Woodruff threw 70 pitches in his debut. We don't know, this might not be a normal situation where he gets pushed another 15 pitches in his next game because he was out for like 2 years. And so I think this is going to be a very, very slow build-up for Brandon Woodruff today. Also, Washington's pretty good. And so I just don't want to play a guy at chalk who we don't know is going to be pitching more than 75 pitches today.
What's your take on? I think that's a pretty reasonable take from TJ there. Again, we don't know. Could he go 80 to 85? I think that's fine. I think we can all be certain, Justin, Brandon Woodruff isn't going 110 pitches today.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, he did get up to 82, I believe, in his last rehab start before that first game back. So, perhaps it was a 1-0 game, I think, last time, or 2-0 game when they pulled him out after the 70 pitches. So, yeah, but he's not. They're certainly, last game before the break, there's no reason to extend him. I mean, they've been playing great baseball. Their bullpen's really good. They won easily last night. So, if they get out ahead 8-1 or something like that, they're definitely not going to push Woodruff today. So I think he's safe. I think he's fine. If you're looking for ceiling though at his salary, I don't think you're going to be excited about the ceiling.
Someone want to know about Fried and GPPs. TJ, what's your take on that? I think Justin and he's just someone I'm not. I'm looking at all of the higher priced pitchers and higher owned pitchers. I mean, taking a pitcher against the Cubs in Yankee Stadium, I don't know. That's not something I generally would want to do, especially.
Yeah, I never play any pitchers against the Cubs, especially when they don't come at any kind of discount. So I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with it, but I just don't see any need to do it.
I'd play Boyd over Fried today if I had to
Me
pick
too.
one. Right? Would you agree with that, Justin?
Yeah, I'm not playing either, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have a strong take. I'm just they're both X's for me.
All right. Contreras or Murphy at catcher? I'm on Murphy. He just hit 2 home runs. He's against Eric Fedde. Now, I don't like Ogasawara or the Nats bullpen, but Contreras just hasn't really been getting it done too much this year, Justin.
It was Murphy was. I don't know if Murphy's got some vendetta or whatever, but the when the Cardinals hit a home run or get a big hit or something, they do this goofy bird. Every team's got to have their little shtick now. So the Cardinals do this little bird flap thing, and Murphy hit his first home run last night. He did a little bird flap, and then he hit his second home run. He did an even bigger bird flap. So Murphy's got it. He's got the Cardinals under his skin right now. So. I don't know. Maybe he takes one in the ribs today, but that's a couple fantasy points if he does, and it's Fetty throwing it, so it's not going to be 100 miles an hour.
If we can get up to 150 likes, which we are still a little bit away from, I'll say if we can get up to 130, because it's early morning Saturday, less viewers than usual. If we can get up to 130, I have a Spidey Bomb that is better than plus 800.
Oh, all right. I already clicked a like, but I would encourage everybody to go along with that. I have an Alonso bet in. I'll follow you in on this one too. We got a Dodgers lineup: Ohtani, Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar. Then it's Conforto, Pages, Kim, Edman rushing at catcher. So it's a little wonky for the Dodgers lineup today. We still don't have a Reds lineup. We still don't have a few other teams here. You guys are going to have to do some digging on your own. No Guardians, no Nationals, no Brewers, no Rays. We're not really playing them. No Royals, no Mets, no Giants, no Marlins, no Orioles. So we're going to have to do some paying attention if you want to use any of those guys. Just don't have them today. This is why I said FanDuel made the right choice with the slate today, going at 4:00. Draftkings went early, but we got to cover all the games, so we're doing the show early to cover the Draftkings slate. So you guys are just going to be on your own out there. Hopefully you can make the right decisions when it comes to that. I don't really see too many more questions. Let's see. Don't have any of that. Bet I'm on the Blue Jays, TJ, for tonight in Sacramento. Lopez is good, but 54% fly ball rate to right-handed batters, and Toronto's going to roll out basically an all right-handed lineup in this little minor league baseball stadium with heat and humidity and wind. I mean, this spells trouble for Lopez today. So I'm on your Blue Jays today. What's your take on that?
Love it. Blue Jays are playing really great baseball right now, and we got the division lead. Hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, I like the Blue Jays for a bet today. Justin, anything you were eyeing today? Did you hedge with a Braves bet today?
It's not even a hedge at this point. I'm just fine with the Braves today. Yeah, that's my favorite pick today. I had to do the article super early this morning, and then I got a haircut, and then we had the show, so I haven't had time to write anything up. I'll probably try to get something for the later games. But if I had to do, it would be the Braves, either the Braves straight up or the Braves over team total. I kind of like the Braves over team total, frankly.
Yeah, I got the
Can I just say that I hate having cards writing both the article, like the main baseball article, and the expert survey on the weekends at the same time, because I'm also on the expert survey on the weekends, and he does them at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and so I always feel like I'm late. Every time I wake up and start the expert survey, I always feel like I'm getting
your time zone's behind me, so I have to have the. So what are you 2 hours? What are you Pacific time US?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to have the article in by 9, which is 7 your time, which means your time. I'm probably getting up at 3:30 Pacific time, which is 5:30 my time to get started. So don't feel like you're late. I just gotta do it early.
I can't help it.
TJ, I'm going to trust the people to get 2 more likes. We're at 128. You said 130. They're going to get there by the time you're done giving Spidey Bomb number 3. Who do you got?
I don't know that they are, Britt. I can't be. I just dropped 20 likes for them to be able to get it. I can't give it early when I just dropped criteria 20 likes. Like, what's the point of even giving criteria if we're not going to?
It's at 129.
There it is, 130. We did it. Terrible park for home runs, but this is a very good power hitter who was horrific the majority of the year so far, who has finally turned things around. Michael Conforto plus 830, Spidey Bomb number 3.
I thought for a second there he was going to drop like a Jonathan India or something the way he was building that up.
Michael Conforto plus 830. Spidey Bomb number 3 today. So we have Randy Rosarina plus 560. Pete Alonso plus 390. And then Michael Conforto over on FanDuel is plus 830.
All right, I'll see if I can get that taken at a plus 900 somewhere else. So we'll see. I'll try to squeeze out a couple better odds there. He said, and it definitely was not Jonathan India, Justin, because he said was a power hitter. And then it's not Jonathan India unless you take him in your lineup against me in a head-to-head.
The first part I caught has sucked for most of the season. So the first guy that popped into my head that had a pretty good matchup today was Jonathan.
All right, that's going to do it for today. Again, guys, no extra lineups are out. Do your own homework. After this, you're going to have to be on your phone or your computer or something, probably around 2 o'clock. If you check back, you should have most of the lineups. Other than that, everybody have a good day. For TJ and Justin, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, and we out, y'all.